Hello and welcome to Who Watches Who, a Doctor Who podcast with me, Matthew, and as always, I'm joined with...
What's happening here? Hello, I'm Scott, and don't make me laugh. Ha ha
ha ha.
It's the thing the guy says.
Are we canon in Doctor Who now? Is this?
I hope
is
so.
Is this a canon show in the universe of Doctor Who?
I must say, I did feel attacked.
I didn't feel attacked. I felt seen. In this episode, I was about to call it Flux. This is Lux, not Flux. It's one letter removed. This episode, Lux, is episode 2 of season 2 of Ncuti Gatwa's run so far, and much better than last week. Still not great. Much better than last week. Going up. It's very eerily similar to last season still. Even in the episode structure, in the way the episodes are playing out is almost like last season as well. There's even returning things like the Doctor being tied up, Ruby being tied up. We'll get into it later on, but it's weird.
Episode 3 is on kind of like a rocky kind of planet. That was episode 3 of last season as well.
Yeah.
It is.
And episode 3 last season was the darker episode. This episode coming up, episode 3, looks like it's a darker episode. You know, more morally ambiguous.
Yeah.
It looks scary. It looks much more better. It looks very good.
Much more better. Yeah. Apparently, it might be a midnight sequel, so we'll see.
I've seen those rumors as well. I also have seen.
Apparently, there's also leaks for the episodes that's out, so that's it's a shame that the whole season has apparently been leaked.
The entire show has been leaked since Russell T Davies got back in charge.
I think it's way before then. There were leaks in the Chibnall era, Moffat era. It's been non-stop. You would think they would figure it out by now.
I think it's part of the marketing strategy is to have leaks, you know.
I mean, that's the theory that's going around. I don't quite buy into it.
It makes sense to me. If you want some homemade viral marketing, leak, you know. But there was various opinions on this episode that I had and that you had. I think I liked it more than you did, again, as I did last week. I liked the episode last week more than you did. I think this is a pretty good episode. What I liked about this episode, watching it the first time, also I've seen it twice. I definitely enjoyed it more the first time than the second time. But hey-oh, you know, it feels like an episode of Doctor Who. This felt like a Doctor Who. It didn't feel like it was moving insanely fast. It had some creepy vibes. It had some history vibes. It had a little bit of learning about the segregation and stuff, a little bit of real history coming in there. It had some fun wackiness with a weird villain. It maybe went a bit too far with it, and I think kind of stumbled towards the end. But that first opening part of the episode really felt like Doctor Who to me. I really enjoyed it. I thought the dialogue was great. I thought the Ncuti felt like the Doctor, you know. I'm enjoying the dynamic between him and Belinda. I think they have a fun sort of back and forth where Belinda doesn't really want to be there but gets kind of sucked into it every now and then, you know. I'm digging it.
I liked the episode. Honestly, I liked the episode, but it's let down by a lot of repetitive things we've been discussing about the Russell T Davies era. But, you know, just the same problems over and over again. I guess we'll get into that later on, but it's a solid enough episode. I like it enough, but I just want something a bit more deeper. You know, I want something a little bit more deeper. Not too deep, but like character arcs in this episode, please. Some kind of character arc. There's no character arc. I'm sorry.
I thought it was funny in this episode when they become animated, and they have to add depth to themselves. I'm like, oh well, these guys are screwed. These characters. But
that's something we could get into. The big thing that Shutigawa's doctor talks about in this scene is, oh, I never told you that my planet was destroyed, and me talking about this makes me have more depth. And I was like, that's the first thing you said to Ruby in the Space Babies, that your home planet was destroyed. You talked about genocide all the time. Why are you not?
It's the most jarring thing in the world in Space Babies as well, because it comes out of nowhere. It's like the most wacky, silly episode, and then the Doctor goes genocide, and it's so funny. But yeah,
how does that give the Doctor depth to talk about something he's been very open about in the last season? I don't quite understand the reasoning behind this scene. And, you know, that scene in general, like, the idea of the Doctor getting animated sounds fun on paper. There's a million different ways you could explore that in a really fun and unique style. Instead, we're just standing there. They're animated like they're Hanna-Barbera characters, just standing there with limited animation.
They continuously made Scooby-Doo references throughout. So when they came in with that Scooby-Doo-esque art style, I was like, oh, I get why they were planting that Scooby-Doo seed. That's funny. But they don't... I would have liked if they even moved a little bit. They just stand static, and their mouth like doesn't even move. You know, it's very disappointing.
Put them in a van, have Shutigawa wear a turtleneck, K9 is there as a talking dog. Give it some more energy. Scooby-Doo make it Scooby-Doo if you're going for Scooby-Doo. Make it a Scooby-Doo parody instead of, we're standing outside the cinema just talking, I guess. Make it more inventive. It's not inventive enough.
A Scooby-Doo parody would have gone hard and is perfectly foreshadowed in the episode multiple times for it to do something similar to that, you know? That would have been fun. I guess the big thing from this episode that most people are going to want to talk about is the breaking of the fourth wall. When the episode gets meta, when they get sucked into the camera, and they go into the animated sequence we were talking about, they break out of it by grabbing a hold of the top of the frame. Let me try and angle my hands here. Grab a hold of the top of the frame and pull down. And they pull down, and they pull down, and it eventually breaks until they get out. But they get tricked a few times. The first time is with a racist cop. That is just a trick, an illusion, because he's from New York or whatever. And then the second time, they find themselves in our podcast. Where they come out to meet some Doctor Who fans, some Whovians, all merched up as everybody is when they watch Doctor Who. You make sure you wear all your Doctor Who merch. You get your Doctor Who mug, your scarf. You dress up so you know you're watching Doctor Who. Otherwise, how else are you going to know what show you're watching? You know, and this is where the episode kind of flatlines. It kind of just runs into a wall. You know.
Yeah. This whole sequence should have been like, they go to different universes. Every universe is either differently animated or different circumstances. Instead, there's only like 3 different unique universes they kind of go into, and this universe
That reminds me of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
They go into one universe.
Well, at least that was more inventive. You know, like that one montage of them going into different universes was trippy as fuck. That was the best part of the movie. And then they just
those 5
land
seconds
on the same universe. Yeah. And it's just a bunch of rooms. What was I going to say? But yeah, this goes on for way too long. They go out of the TV, and then 6 minutes later they go back into the TV. This is a 6-minute scene. Too long. It completely flatlines the episode. And if you're a new fan, this is supposedly, this is the 15th episode of the new Who. 15 episodes ago, it was the perfect starting point. I'm sorry, but would new Whovians not be very confused about what the fuck is going on in this scene? It's too inside baseball.
There is a lot of I don't think there's a good place to start Doctor Who except for season 1 in Christopher Eccleston still, you know. And I suppose you could watch that and be like, what did that mean, and go online and find out. but whatever. What I disliked is it felt like it had a natural conclusion when they're on the couch, and I like how the Whovians, those Doctor Who fans, are so smart. We are able to figure out that we're fictional in the Doctor Who universe, because we're the smartest fans around. I thought that was kind of fun and kind of cute. And then they just keep hammering home that point. I think it takes Belinda like 3 or 4 times it being explained to her before she even understands what's happening. Like they say multiple times, "Hey, we're not real. You guys are real. We're not real." She's like, "What do you mean? What does that mean? What's going on? No. We're not real." And it's like, "Okay, I get it. And then they stand up and they keep saying goodbye. And it's like, "Okay, please do something." And then Shooty cries, of course.
Yeah, no, again, it feels like it could have gone in a more interesting way. There's like a million ideas of where you could take the Doctor meeting his fans, and the area you go is, they just sit on the couch and talk about Blink for about 6 minutes. Is really what's going on here, which 3 Doctor Who fans all agreeing that Blink is the best episode sounds a bit weird. Like there should be like an argument or something.
Yeah, no. I don't know how many Doctor Who fans that are like wear Doctor Who merch to watch Doctor Who are going to say Blink is their favorite one, but maybe they will. Like, I don't know if Blink would be my favorite. I don't know what I would say. Heaven Sent, maybe.
I don't know what I would say either, but I would probably say The Caves of Androzani. It's a decent episode to go with. It's a classic episode, and not like that one of those fans. One of those fans should have been like, "Oh, I hate all of the TV stuff. I listen to Big Finish." One of those fans should have said Big Finish.
That would have been great. Yeah, you could have really showed some diversity and highlighted some even some key other Doctor Who stories that if you are a new Who fan, you could go and then check out those stories to be like, "Oh, what, that was an actual story? Okay, I'll go watch that one." Rather than just everyone's going to go watch Blink now. Which is a good story, but I think it's so funny that everyone's favorite Doctor Who episode is the one that doesn't have the Doctor in it. Yeah,
I was expecting a line from the Doctor to be like, "Oh, you mean the one I'm hardly in? That's your favorite adventure I went on."
The one where I didn't do anything. But yeah, I thought the sequence itself was fine at first because I saw the rumors and the leaks for this episode where it was like there's gonna be Doctor Who fans that are real life people in the show, and we have that shot of the Doctor standing there with the logo on the TV, which is just bizarre as fuck to think about. But I liked how they justified it in the actual episode itself. I hated the idea, but then in the episode itself, it makes sense with the villain. It makes sense with the powers. They over-explain it a bit, but it doesn't, I think, break anything in the show. I think everything can still basically continue on as is. It's fine.
I think we live in a world where TV shows being meta is not enough to be unique or funny anymore. You
Rick
need
and
to
Morty
kind
did
of
it better.
go to the next. Yeah, Rick and Morty did it better, and that started 12 years ago. Deadpool came out almost a decade ago. Like, we've seen TV shows being Community. We've seen a million TV shows being meta as fuck. So the surprise of Doctor Who being meta isn't that much of a surprise. Doctor Who has always kind of been meta now and again. It's and you need to. I think you just need to do a little bit more creative in your meta-ness. And don't drag it out so long either.
But is this perhaps just a dipping off the toe to introduce us to the idea that Doctor Who can be meta and that Doctor Who fans can exist when we get the reveal of who Mrs. Flood is, which is going to be like the leader of the Twitter account of RIP Doctor Who or something.
I don't know what the fuck this is. Yeah, the whole theory of this season is that the Doctor's in a fictional TV show is supposed to be like a Truman Show kind of twist, apparently.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this quote-unquote twist is because of this scene in this episode, or if it's going to tie into the final episode of the season. I'm not sure. I don't know if I care at this point.
I kind of like the idea of it being a Truman Show thing. What I dislike about like the idea that the Doctor thinks he's on regular adventures, but it's again like Rick and Morty when Rick is in the big spaceship that's simulating his environment, and they're trying to get him to reveal the space fuel or whatever the fuck. The idea that the Doctor's doing that for this long and that he's just being watched without knowing, I think is really interesting, but it kind of makes all the other episodes irrelevant. Because it's, what's the tension in these other episodes if that was all fake? You know, why am I watching all these fake episodes if this is the only real one? Which is then going to make, I think, a rewatch very disappointing. Where like, you can just skip all this. No, there's no tension.
I feel like the rewatch of this season is going to be disappointing in general, same as last season. I feel like the reveal at the end of the season is going to be something that's really underwhelming and just ruins this episode, honestly.
Yeah, it's possible. What did you think of Mr. fucking Ring-a-Ding? What was his name? Was that his name? Ring-a-ding?
Mr. Mr. Ring-a-Ding. Yeah, Mr. Ring-a-Ding is a fun as hell villain, but I'm just not too sure about the whole pantheon of Discord kind of thing we're going with.
I hate them
in this show. Yeah. I just don't care that he's connected to the toy maker, and I don't care nothing about. Every time you do this, I'm never going to be surprised by the big reveal. I'm never going to be jumping up from my seat just completely shocked that this is a big reveal. I don't understand why they have to be connected. Just make him his own kind of thing. I don't really understand. It's more interesting if you don't tie it back to anything.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I really liked him as a villain. He does remind me a lot, going back to last season, of Maestro. You know, he's musical, he sings, he's this very large, literally cartoony villain this time, rather than just, like, cartoony in performance. They're a slightly less interesting version of the Neil Patrick Harris toy maker, you know, but still kind of interesting.
Never a man who likes song and dance.
Yeah,
they don't like a song and dance apart from Sefu. No, wait, what's his name?
Sutek.
Yes.
When he went ha 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 ha, I was like, oh god damn it, it's another goddamn one of these stupid fucking gods. Which I just struggle to care with this Legion of Doom villains that don't really do anything and are easily defeated, you know?
Yeah, it makes it so much less interesting when we have to stop the plot dead in its tracks to explain for 2 minutes that they are part of the pantheon, that they are one of the gods. I don't care. I just don't care. Just do something. Do something more interesting, please.
Literally, just do anything. And I thought he was fine. I thought the performance was really strong.
Yes, Alan Cumming is already a cartoony man, so if you put him as a cartoon, it's just perfect. You know, like Spy Kids, he is already a cartoony man. No, I thought
he was great. I thought all the performances were great. The story in this episode's really straightforward. You know, the Doctor, they land on Earth in the 50s to do a thingamabig with the thingamaboob, and then they discover the spooky cinema. They find the god, they get sucked into the TV, they escape, they beat the god by shining some light on him from the outside. And I actually really liked the ending, I thought, when Mr. Ring-a-Ding just becomes light. And he's like, I am everything and nothing, and just fades away. I thought that was really cool.
Honestly, after the cold open, which kind of reveals too much, I think the episode becomes a slog until you reach Mr. Ring-a-Ding again. Like, the whole... There's like 10 minutes of them inside the TARDIS or at the diner just not really doing anything interesting. Like, it's all repetitive stuff of, oh, we can't get you back to 2025 because we keep bouncing off of it. We keep getting that information relayed to us.
When the episode went into the TARDIS and had the Doctor again pulling the lever and again getting bounced off 2025, I was like, why are we doing this again? You did it so many times last episode. You did it just endless times. Why are you still trying?
Just open up the episode with the Doctor coming out of the TARDIS, using that machine to try and get the cast onto 2025, and just explain that there, and then jump into the story. And also, we don't need the scene in the diner where the Doctor gets more invested about what's going on in the cinema, when he's already invested in what's going on in the cinema. Like, they go up to the cinema doors and they're like, oh, people have gone missing around here. That's interesting. And then they go to the diner and talk to the mum of one of the people who went missing that we already know the story of. We don't need the mum to be involved unless she's an important character, and she's not an important character. Instead, we're just wasting time. It's just wasting time until we get to Mr. Ring-a-Ding again.
You say wasting time. I say saving money in the budget. But yeah, I thought it was fine. I was kind of into the vibes of the episode because it was kind of eerie, kind of spooky, and them going around this diner and everyone's talking in hushed whispers about the missing people, and you don't really know what's going on, which again I think's maybe more interesting if you don't know who the villain is right at the start, because then when he reveals himself from the curtain, you're kind of like, oh, what? But also that him coming out of the screen, I think, is a great hook in. Because you're immediately like, whoa, shit, that's cool. Like when we first saw the image of that in the trailer, we were like, damn, that looks fantastic. Yeah. That looks like it will be a banger of an episode. And it was an okay episode.
Yeah, so this episode is a lot like The Idiot's Lantern, the whole idea of somebody in a screen trying to steal the essence of somebody. In The Idiot's Lantern case, is the lady trying to steal faces from people, which is, I think, more creepy than putting people into film reels, because that's more of a visual kind of thing, people walking around without a face. That's fucking terrifying. The idea of going up to a film reel and seeing images of people on the film reel, that doesn't convey the same kind of terror, in my opinion.
I thought what was interesting was Mr. Ring-a-Ding's relationship with Mr. Pie. Was there a reason he was nice to him? Did he just like him? He was just like, you know what? I like you. You get to hang out with your dead wife all the time. She loves you. You just hang out and be my friend.
He needs somebody to turn on the projectors, I guess, but then he turns on the projectors later himself, so no, not really.
He just wanted a buddy. He just friends with him.
Whereas Mr. Magpie, again with pies, I don't know why there's two pies. Mr. Magpie in The Idiot's Lantern, there's a reason he has to walk around with the lady on the TV, because she can't go around herself. She can't go into everybody's home because Mr. Magpie is selling the TVs to people on the streets, There's no reason for Mr. Pie to be here, and his storyline with his dead wife is just paper thin. There's nothing to gravitate me towards him, and he's forgotten about for most of the episode as well.
Yeah, he is. I think, just thinking back, I haven't seen Idiot's Lantern in a long time, but thinking back to that episode, it's also spooky. It's got spooky vibes. Yeah. It's kind of scary, which is what I like. That image of, like, Rose in particular losing her face is burned in my brain since childhood. I think it's one of those things, like, Doctor Who needs to be spooky. So why I'm looking forward to next week's episode. Next week's episode looks like spooky. It looks spooky.
It looks like a spooky mystery. This episode isn't a mystery. It needs to be more mystery. Yeah. Like the mystery of The Idiot's Lantern. We get the cold open in Idiot's Lantern. That's only 2 minutes long, whereas here the cold open is 4 minutes long, and then we get an extended sequence inside of a TARDIS. Whereas in Idiot's Lantern, no TARDIS scene. After the cold open and after the intro, we just step out to the TARDIS. 1950s London. Great.
I think part of the issue that these scripts have, is even thinking back to the episode with Maestro in it, and even the Sutek episode, and the 60th anniversary, is the Pantheons are just too powerful. Yeah. These are god beings that can change reality and warp and do all these things, and the Doctor has to beat them, and the way he beats them is always incredibly unsatisfying, because it's just like, oh, you beat them with a game of catch. You beat them by playing 4 random notes on a piano. You beat them by going on a walk,
And also, none of them have really killed anyone on screen. It's all...
I mean, Sutek
at
destroyed
the end,
the entire
everybody's
planet.
okay. I mean, they're
Yeah.
okay at the end of the story.
Yeah.
You know, everything gets reversed. Everybody lives. There's no threat, really. Even when he destroys the planet, you know that the planet isn't going to be destroyed for all time because then there's no Doctor Who if he doesn't save the fucking day. Like,
yeah. But it doesn't matter anyway because they're all in a TV show.
Yeah, for God's sake. I fucking hate that theory so much. But I guess it would explain why everything's so
shit
paper thin in terms of the plot.
Yeah.
There's no character that feels authentic. Like Mr. Pie in this episode feels like he should have been the central hook, but he only really gets 2 big scenes. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, he's just forgotten about. He has no presence in the story outside of those 2 big scenes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like at the end, you should feel emotional for Mr. Pie when he decides to burn the film reels and all that shit, because he's essentially saying goodbye to his dead wife. The last memories he has of his dead wife. I should feel sad, but I feel nothing. It's bizarre.
Yeah, it's a weird one tonally. It is kind of all over the place, but I there's something there. I really enjoyed a large part of this episode. I thought it was solid, but what I came to earlier, thought I had was, do I think that this season is worth recommending yet to somebody? If somebody watched season 1 but wasn't sure about starting season 2 because they didn't like season 1, would I say you should jump on season 2? It's better. You should jump on season 2. They're improving the thing. Is it worth jumping on yet? And I don't know if it is. I don't know if I would be like, yeah. I'd be like, maybe. It's getting there. It's okay. Give it another week. We'll see. You know. But it's still lacking that sort of, I don't know, spark or hook or thing that's quite weird and Doctor Who-y. Right now it just kind of feels like we're doing what we've already done still. You know? No. With it feeling like season 1 again. Like we're doing the exact same episode structure, the exact same pattern. It's, you know, why aren't we trying to do something different here? Why are we just repeating ourselves?
I don't know what else to say about this episode. Honestly, it's an alright episode. It's
fine. It's like a 7 or an 8. I think they gave it a 7 out of 10 at the end of the episode. Yeah, I think the episode themselves. I think the episode itself gave it a 7 out of 10 when it cuts back to the Doctor Who fans watching the thing, and they're like, "I loved that episode. I think I'd give it a 7 out of 10."
How are you feeling about the exploration of who Belinda is as a character? Because I'm still not really sure what her thing is. Like in this episode, we find out about her parents for no reason, really. Like her mum was a violinist, her dad is a bad singer.
Just getting to know the Doctor. But I like her so far. I like her. She has personality. She has conflict. Yeah. She's willing to tell the Doctor no, and willing to tell him when he's wrong, and willing to contradict him, and willing to be like, you're an idiot. Like when she's like, oh, hi, I'm Belinda and this is the Doctor. That's a fucking dumb name. Why do you do this? You know? I think she's more personality than Ruby. And I think Ruby herself was just carried by the fact that Millie Gibson is charming as fuck, because Ruby has got like no character, you know. I honestly think who's my mom.
I think we're honestly roughly the same. Like last week we had the whole I don't want to go with you. I don't want my DNA to be tested by you, etc. And here it feels like any kind of what's it called? Any kind of conflict is gone already at the end of the episode, where Belinda is essentially hugging the Doctor, being like, yeah, we'll just stick together. Will there be any more conflict? Probably not.
I think so. I think there will be. Especially, we'll see how next week's episode goes, because it looks spooky and it looks like something bad happens to Belinda. Or, you know, something somewhat traumatizing or scary or freaky. And if that happens, hopefully it kind of has reverberating consequences. You know, like this is something scary to go through, which is going to affect our character moving forward, and they're not just going to forget about it. You know, I don't mind if they forget about it for an episode or two, because this is an episodic show, but it should come back at least in the finale when she's like, "No, you upset me when you let me be possessed by the demon that copies people." Grr.
For some reason, in the TARDIS scene, and also in the scene where they're talking with the fans, they play the Amy Pond theme for no reason. It just why? Like, when you have a motif that's used for a specific character, don't use that motif a decade, 15 years later. Don't use that same motif 15 years later, because all I can think of is Amy Pond, and why are you playing the Amy Pond theme?
God,
Play
how
a
was
new
that
theme.
15 years ago? Also, I was just thinking, wasn't it in the episode last season when they went back to the 60s that they did that transition with the TARDIS doing their changing into their outfits? They did the same thing in this episode.
Yeah, it's
the exact same thing in this
sequence,
episode.
yes.
Yeah.
Which, again, we don't need. Just have them walk out of the TARDIS in their uniform already, and then do some exposition, and then get right into the story. Have the Doctor meet Mr. Ring-a-Ding 7 or 8 minutes into the story or something. Get there so much quicker, please.
It's so strange that they're just doing the same thing, even down to those montage sequences. You know.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get why they would do that. Other than it's all a TV show, and this is part of the meta commentary on the big reveal at the end, and it's going to be really confusing for most people, I think.
But, you know, there is that interview of Russell T Davies says we want to try and generate more content, so people on Twitter, on Facebook, etc. will be talking about these kind of moments. And Doctor meeting his fans feels manufactured. It doesn't feel natural to the story at all.
It's going to be the thumbnail for this episode. It's going to be the title for this episode. It's 100% there to drive online engagement, and we're going to capitalize on that for sure.
Which it's really sad. I just want something to feel organic.
Focus on telling a good story before start focusing on trying to get people to share it online. You know, like if it's a good story, surely people will talk about it online because they'll be like, holy shit, what a phenomenal story that was, you know.
And there's no overarching theme that's become clear to us that's not in your face, like Mrs. Flood popping up at the end of the episode saying, "Oh, watch this, it'll blow you away." And it's like, "Oh, we've done this before. Why are you just repeating the fourth wall break again?" We've done this before. We've had you watch the TARDIS fade. I don't understand why we're doing this again. There's no new information about Mrs. Flood other than she can time travel, I guess.
Yeah, or can she time travel? She's just everywhere, because it's a TV show. But she's just everywhere, regardless of time, location, or because she was the ambulances in Boom. Yeah, you know. So she's.
I mean, you're thinking of Susan Twist.
Oh, they're all the same person. Old lady shows up in place. Fuck me.
Two old lady mysteries in a row is a bit. Actually, 3 lady mysteries in a row because of Ruby's mum as well.
Yeah.
Too many mysterious ladies in this 2 seasons of Doctor Who.
Yeah. It's dumb. It's dumb. I dislike it.
Whereas watching The Idiot's Lantern, I was reminded that, oh yeah, they foreshadow the end of a season by having the Doctor believe that Rose is gone because she gets her face zapped and she has no face, and the Doctor gets really angry because he's thinking, oh shit, I just lost my companion, I just lost Rose, I feel really bad for letting her do this, and that's a foreshadowing to the end of a season. And also in the original series too, the only fan service that tied back to previous episodes was really, other than the Cybermen popping up again, was Sarah Jane Smith. The entire episode devoted to Sarah Jane Smith. But that episode worked because if you don't know who Sarah Jane Smith is, it's a nice little story. Either way, you feel Sarah Jane Smith as a character in that episode, even if you haven't seen a single second of Classic Who. And again, the thing with Mel is, can you say anything about Mel if you don't know about her in Classic Who? Not really.
She's in Donna's family for some reason.
I know, yeah. There's nothing to the fan service in this new era either way. There's nothing to really gravitate towards.
It Doctor Who kind of feels like when Doctor Who came back in 2005 and what continued on even throughout into Matt Smith's era. It's kind of where it started happening is around Matt Smith's time. It kind of felt like it was its own thing. Like it was tangentially involved with Doctor Who from the past, and they would make the odd reference here and there or have a returning villain or something. But it still very much felt like it was its own thing and you could jump on board without needing to know anything. Now Doctor Who feels like it's on a nostalgia fucking overload, just constantly sucking its own dick, you know, where it's like, look how great of a show Doctor Who is, look how much history we've got. Even if you go back to the Century BBC special, when you had all these classic Doctors, all the companions come back, everybody comes back, and then you go into the 60th anniversary and all these other people come back, and all of this is a tie-in to this, and then all these different things come in, and it's, if you're not following Doctor Who for the past 60 years, it's incredibly overwhelming, and like, what the fuck does any of this is almost incomprehensible to someone that hasn't been following the show, you know, and the show is so far inside itself where it's like, no, everybody knows we're Doctor Who, you know, we can do this because it's a reference, timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly, yeah, like, and it's like, what the fuck is happening? Why are you, just be a good show first, and then relate it back to old Doctor Who second, you know?
Doctor Who definitely needs to start looking forward rather than constantly looking back, because you need to get the new audience in, because people like us, I'm not entirely sure if I would be watching this week in, week out if it wasn't for this podcast. I would probably
I'd probably forget about it, honestly, and then get around to it when it was all done and be like, oh yeah, shit, I forgot about Doctor Who.
Yeah. Like, there's nothing for me to go back to each week. Even though I like this episode enough, I haven't really said anything positive about it, have I? I liked it in the moment when I was watching it, and I let it wash over me, but it's kind of like junk food, you know? You eat junk food and it's like, oh great, this is yummy, and then you regret it like 2 minutes later. That's just how I feel about Doctor Who now. There's no substance to it.
Yeah, there's no substance to it. It feels weird. It doesn't quite feel how it used to feel. Yet it's obsessed with trying to capture that feeling by constantly bringing it up, which just kind of makes it feel even older than it is.
Did we skip over anything?
It's fine. No,
the
whole episode is pretty much...
When the Doctor meets the fans, they say it's like Galaxy Quest, which is a really confusing line because it's not at all like Galaxy Quest. Galaxy Quest is about a bunch of aliens coming to Earth thinking the actors are really from a TV show. That's not what's happening here. It's confusing. What do you mean it's like Galaxy Quest?
You know, it's like a meta sci-fi thing. Galaxy Quest is meta.
That's it, really.
Yeah. That's funny. But yeah, it's whatever. I thought the episode was fine. It wasn't great. There's been worse episodes. 7 out of 10.
The animation on Mr. Ring-a-Ding is really fucking good. It's really fluid. I really like the shots where, you know, they're spinning around the camera. It looks really fucking great, the animation. Big props to them. Again, wish there was more inventive animation stuff you could do with animation. Like, what if Mr. Ring-a-Ding chases the Doctor around with a giant hammer or something like that? Something more interesting, something more
no money in the budget. No budget in the money. No budget in the money, no money in the budget. Just can't do it.
But yeah, we're definitely doing the Idiot's Lantern, and the Idiot's Lantern will just be talking about this again whenever we get round to it.
But next week we will be covering episode 3. We're basically doing these on a week delay at this point. So
hopefully not next week. We'll see.
Yeah. What is next
we'll
week's
get caught
episode
up.
called?
The episode next week is called The Well.
The Well.
I think 2 seconds. I'm looking for Doctor Who series 15 because looking up Doctor Who series fucking oh my god, I cannot fucking find this season. It's so confusing to find. I keep getting so if I look up season 2, I get season 2 from 2006. If I look up season 15, I get season 15 from the 70s.
Just specify Shooty Gatwa season 2.
But the next 3 episodes are my most anticipated 3 episodes of the bunch. We have The Well, Lucky Day, and The Story and the Engine, which is the episode set in Nigeria. So I am very excited about these 3 episodes, and they're not written by Russell T Davies. The next episode is written by Russell T Davies, but he has a co-writer with him, so it's a new writer. It's new perspective on Doctor Who, which we haven't had since Series 12, I think, was the last time we had a writer.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
It's been
no,
a
actually,
while.
last season we had one. No, wait, last season it was fucking Stephen Moffat. I forgot.
Yeah, it was Stephen Moffat last season.
No, we had Rogue written by 2 ladies, but
oh yes, yes. And that was a fun episode. I enjoyed Rogue.
Yeah, it was fun. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the next 3 episodes. Hopefully we'll have more to talk about, because this one's a very short episode indeed.
Yeah. But, oh well, we will see you same bat time, same bat hour. Subscribe here at Who Watches Who on YouTube to catch us when we upload. We have a massive backlog of so many Doctor Who episodes. We've probably covered your favorite episode, see what we thought, or watch an episode and see what we thought about it and watch along with us, you know?
We fucking did Blink. Go back and listen to our Blink podcast.
Yeah, we did Blink.
Since everybody's in love with Blink. 2 Blink references 2 weeks in a row. Insane.
Blink.
Too many Blinks.
Blink was such a long time ago we covered it. That was the first ever episode that I did a cold open clip for, rather than just jumping into, That's how long ago that was.
I think it was also the first episode I got this microphone. I just fucking tapped and made everybody deaf. But yeah, I think it's the first time I've had a proper microphone. So it's a good podcast we did like 200 years ago. Enjoy.
It does, it does feel that way. Okay, so we will see you next week when we cover The Well. Bye.